So, today's sport that I've never heard of, we're going down under to New Zealand. And it's a sport called, hang on, I do need to look as I read it, Ki-O-Rahi. Ki-O-Rahi. I have no idea what it is, so let's check it out. Now, one thing I know, and now obviously this is New Zealand, but I've picked up quite a lot of Australian subscribers. Amazing to have you. But I'm wondering if this sport is something you've heard of. Let me know down below if you have. How far does this sport spread?
New Zealand's national identity has been shaped by an array of influences, and the challenge in recent times has been to ensure that the Maori contribution remains central. The capital, Wellington, is a city steeped in Maori history.
I've never even seen Wellington. But Wellington looks like a really strange city. A mix of everything. You've got the sea, you've got the high-rise buildings, you've got the mountains in the back. What a kind of a strange, beautiful, but I don't know, looks quite crowded in such a tiny little area.
This is the Kokiri Marai, the focal point for the local Maori community. It offers a variety of services and plays a crucial role in helping to preserve the cultural identity of these people.
Kokiri Marai.
John Kingi works here, and he's one of the leading forces behind the revival of a Maori ball game called Ki-O-Rahi.
Ki-O-Rahi. I did say it right, I think. Ki-O-Rahi.
Transworld Sport was keen to find out more.
Maori have this thing where we constantly look into the past to inform our future. It's really, really important that we do that. We try to do that here with the mahi that we get involved with. One of them anyway has been Ki-O-Rahi in terms of health, oranga, well-being.
Ki-O-Rahi contains elements similar to those found in Rugby Union, Australian rules, touch rugby and handball.
Straight away, I was going to say, from the pictures on those newspaper articles, and it's obviously being played on a rugby pitch. Now, whether or not it's normally played on a rugby pitch, I don't know. It's playing with a smaller size spherical ball, so it's not like an Aussie rules or whatnot, but the aspects are looking like rugby and Aussie rules. So, once again, do Aussies know about it?
2 teams of 7 compete on a circular field which is divided into zones.
And they've got to try and...
scored by touching the po or boundary markers and by hitting a central target known as the tupu. Ki-O-Rahi has been passed down the generations and is bound up in Maori legend or purakau.
Ki-O-Rahi, like all good purakau, like all good legends, there's always a woman involved, there's always a male involved, there's usually struggle involved, and then what's really important about the purakau is every aspect within that purakau basically relates to what happens out on the field.
All inclusive. All inclusive. How good is that? Straight away, it's including men and women. You know, that's brilliant straight away. I still have no idea what they're really trying to do. Are they trying to hit the middle thing?
Ki-O-Rahi is about conflict resolution.
The game is said to be based on the legend of a young warrior called Rahi, whose wife Tiara was kidnapped.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to hit the green.
He went in search of his wife
green thing
and
in the middle.
encountered a series of challenges along the way. Eventually, Rahi rescued Tiara from her captors, but instead of seeking vengeance, he offered them a ball, or ki, as a symbol of peace. Ki-O-Rahi translates as Rahi's ball. With more and more people taking up the sport, communities now travel around the country to play against each other.
That's really cool. So by the looks of it, just from the start of watching this, there's, say, 2 or 3 people in the middle circle that have got to try and stop the guys on the outside from chucking the ball at that middle. It looked like a big foam pad. That looks like the rough idea. They look like they're playing with tag rugby kind of things on their belts as well.
When Transworld Sport was in town, Kokiri Marai headed to Wanganui, around 200 kilometres north of Wellington, for a match. Before the game got underway, and in keeping with Maori tradition, the visitors presented their hosts with a gift.
Sorry, what? This is definitely a cultural thing. Like, it's like they're giving each other Eskimo kisses. And not trying to be derogatory at all. I'm not being derogatory at all. It's just, you would never get that up here in the Northern Hemisphere, as in the UK or places like that. It's just strange to see, really strange to see.
Coming together, I mean, there's rugby and a lot of people are right at rugby, but Ki-O-Rahi is a reasonably new sport, so people are finding their own groove and learning it in their own way, so in a sense we're mastering it before it's come out anywhere else.
Today, two main forms of the game exist. There's the full contact traditional
tag rugby,
Ki-O-Rahi,
like
as
I said.
illustrated in this game, and there's also the variation that youngsters tend to play. A touch rugby style game in which two flags are worn on a belt around the waist. Players are effectively tackled by the removal of one of the flags. Both men and women play this sport, and often the teams are mixed.
If I could describe it to anybody on the outside looking in, picture putting dodgeball and rugby league or rugby together. I mean, the physicality with it, it's skill based. A lot of people can't do what we're doing out there. A lot of people find it hard. We've had a few rugby stars and rugby league people have come along on board to give it a try, but they have failed. I think the involvement is a lot of skill based.
The rules can vary from region to region. A process called tattoo before the game determines which rules the two sides will abide by.
Touching those the peg things. Why are they doing that?
However, what doesn't change in Ki-O-Rahi games is the point scoring system and the layout of the pitch. The field of play is separated into zones. Each part of the field represents a key moment in the storyline of the Rahi legend. There are areas representing the world, a lake, and the island on which Rahi became trapped.
Like, the kind of mythological story behind it is insane, and maybe that's what makes the game. You know, that's what gives the lore, the excitement and lore to it.
Each match is played over 4 quarters, with the two teams alternating between two roles, the Kioma and the Taniwha. The Kioma's team's basic aim is to score tries, while the Taniwha team earns points by hitting the centre target. The Kioma team score by touching the ball on one of the boundary markers and then running into the pauero without being tackled. It's a fast-paced game, and the rules and scoring system can appear complex at first. Yet players pick up Ki-O-Rahi very quickly, and they're soon hitting the tupu with ease.
It looks complicated, but it's probably not.
It's not just a game, it's a cultural practice. There's things in there that when it's being delivered or being played at the highest level, some really amazing things start to happen. You have references to our cultural beliefs that are in there. You have whanaungatanga, which is our word for relationships. There's a whole heap of things that come into play when it's delivered at its highest level.
Ki-O-Rahi continues to go from strength to strength, particularly in schools across New Zealand. Many have added it to their curriculum, and there's a hugely successful nationwide secondary schools competition. Through sport, the young generation in New Zealand is learning more about the culture and values of the Maori people.
It looks really good fun, I can tell you that.
For Ki-O-Rahi to survive and for it to keep thriving, it's going to take more than our generation. We're part of the initial spark, I guess, but for it to flourish, for it to survive, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take future generations. It's going to take my girl and her kids for it to be in a place where it's truly healthy and out of the realm of revitalised in another space, you know.
Think about it. It almost seems. Think about how Aussie Rules was started, and you guys, the Aussies that watch my videos, you've told me that you were playing it as kids in school, doing marks in school and things like that. And this seems to only really just be starting. This is kind of early stages of development of the game. Not development, they know the rules, but I mean reaching a bigger audience. And so it seems like if you think of when Aussie Rules started, and it's about getting it in schools and having the kids playing it because they love playing it. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But it actually looks really good fun. A mix of all different sports. The idea of it's great. I love the mythology behind it. Probably not true, but, well, obviously not true. That might be disrespectful. I apologise. But yeah, another wicked sport. Trans World Sport. They are finding some fantastic sports. But yeah, like I said, for my Aussie fans and subscribers, if you have heard of this, let me know, because I'm wondering how far the sport actually spreads, even if it's just the knowledge of the sport. Let me know. Yeah, and if there's any New Zealand people that watch, let me know more about this. Because they seem to be getting points when they were getting into the centre circle, and they were getting points for chucking the ball at the... What was it, Rahi? What was the middle thing? Oh man, that's really bad of me. But yeah, let me know. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.